And thank you for tuning in to another episode of Blacklight TV. This is Murph, Big Brother Almighty. And I just wanted to make this video for anybody who had some type of questions or wanted more understanding about the Doge and government spending checkups. I had an analogy that I wanted to share with you, and I wanted to get your opinion on it, whether it's foolish or whether you think it's a great explanation. Now, I want to compare the government, as you can see in the thumbnail, to a car. I want to break this down for you and see if I can give some clarity on what I think is going on. I could be right, I could be wrong, but let's just dive into this real quick. So the government is kind of like a car, and I'm going to break down how this works. So if the government was a car, it would probably be an old, high mileage, gas guzzling beast that somehow manages to keep moving, right? Barely. Every part of the government has a role. And if one piece breaks down, the whole system will start acting up. Let's take a look at how this goes. Now, first, I want to look into the driver. The driver would be the president. The driver controls the car, but let's keep it real. Just because you're behind the wheel does not mean you control everything. There's road conditions, mechanics, sometimes even passengers. Congress can dictate what happens. A good driver knows how to handle the car, steering it in the right direction, avoiding potholes, blah, 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 right? Now, let's say they can drive the whole thing straight into a ditch. That's possible, but so far the car has still been moving. Let's go to the engine. The engine would be Congress. Congress is the heart of the car, just like Congress is the core of the government. Without it, the car goes nowhere. Congress creates the power, the laws that makes things move. But if it gets clogged up, too much dirt and junk, partisan gridlock, things like that, the whole system starts sputtering and stalling. A well-oiled Congress keeps the government running smoothly. But if things get too messy, you might need a full overhaul. Now, let's go on to the next part. Let's say the Supreme Court would be the brakes. The Supreme Court keeps everything in check, much like the brakes on a car. If the government starts speeding out of control, making reckless decisions, heading towards a crash, the Supreme Court steps in to slow things down. It's supposed to. If the brakes fail, guess what happens? Now, moving on, the Constitution would be the car manual. Every car comes with a manual that tells you how it's supposed to operate. The Constitution lays out the rules, the limitations, what you can do, what you can't do, what'll go wrong. Ignoring this at your own risk, because when you start modifying things on your car beyond the manual, sometimes things can get broken and the factory can't fix it, right? So, what is the fuel? The fuel would be the American people. Without fuel, the car doesn't move. The American people are the fuel. Without the fuel, the car does not move. Without the people, the government has no power. The government runs on our votes, our tax dollars, and our engagement. If we stop fueling it properly, whether by not voting, holding officials accountable, or being uninformed, the whole thing starts sputtering and running on fumes. Now, lobbyists and big corporations, that's the GPS. That's always trying to reroute you to a different direction. You ever use that GPS that keeps trying to take you through the longest, raggediest dirt road, somehow saying that it'll be a shortcut? That's lobbyists and big corporations. The lobbyists and big corporations constantly try to redirect the government's course to benefit themselves, even if it's not the best route for the people. If the driver isn't paying attention, they might end up going in circles. Keep following me. The media is the dashboard lights. The media is like warning lights on your dashboard. When everything is working fine, it lets you know. But when something is wrong, you better start paying attention, unless you want to ignore the check engine light. You'll end up stranded. The problem is that sometimes the media exaggerates things, making you think your entire engine is about to explode when really it's low tire pressure. This is important because a lot of people pay attention to different lights differently. So this is a gray area as far as the media. The bureaucracy would be the transmission. The transmission is a complex and is full of moving parts. That is definitely the bureaucracy. Agencies, departments, countless officials making everything run smoothly. But if the transmission starts slipping, guess what happens? Inefficiency, corruption, too much red tape. The government struggles to function properly, and that's why I believe Trump and Elon are looking into these issues. The national debt would be your car loan. Because let's be honest, the car was bought on credit. The US runs on debt like a car runs on gas. But as long as we keep making these payments, managing inflation, balancing spending, everything is fine, right? But miss too many payments. The repo man is coming, and I promise you, the American people won't like it. Now, the military is the airbags. You don't think about airbags until you need them, right? The military is there for your protection. They're ready to deploy in case of emergency. But if used recklessly, like deploying them unnecessarily or not maintaining them properly, can cause more damage than good. Now, like any other car, the government needs regular maintenance, good leadership behind the wheel, and engaged citizens keeping the system fueled and functional. If we ignore problems for too long, it'll end up broken down on the side of the road. That's where we're headed, people. So we're cruising down this highway on the side of the road, about to break down. And guess what happens? The president comes in and says, hey, we need an overhaul. So now we get to the part where we need to fix this car. The Department of Government Efficiency is now applying the brakes. They're putting this car on the lift. To fix this car, President Trump established the Department of Government Efficiency, appointing Elon Musk to lead this initiative. Doge mission is to audit and streamline the federal agencies, targeting what they perceive as bureaucratic waste and inefficiency. This approach improves significant interventions akin to stopping the car to overhaul the engine. You have to halt operations. This is where the IRS audit came in. One of Doge's first major actions was initiating an unprecedented audit of the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service. This move led to the layoff of thousands of IRS employees, even as tax season approached, a critical time for the agency's operations. But effectively applying these brakes, Doge aims to scrutinize and restructure the IRS's functions, despite concerns about the potential disruptions to tax processing and enforcement. He's dismantling components and targeting federal agencies. Doge has also set its sights on other key components of the government vehicle. This includes NASA, the Department of Education, and USAID. Now, well, let me get into those then. NASA they're canceling numerous contracts which could impact ongoing future space missions. They're also proposing significant cuts potentially affecting educational programs nationwide. And for the USAID, attempting to shut down the agency, thereby introducing and influencing international aid and development projects. These measurements represent a systematic dismantling of various parts of the government, which intention on rebuilding them for greater efficiency. Controversies like this is what I see America talking about, but this is my opinion. How do you fix a car if it's still driving? How do you fix a vehicle if you never cut it off? People, we've been driving this car for over 250 years and we never shut it off. We never stopped to look at the engine. We never checked the brakes. We never checked the transmission. We never made sure the airbags are working. We only look at the dashboard, the media, and assume that it's telling us the truth. People, we have to look under the hood. I'm not going to keep you all day, people. I want to know what you think about this. But in my conclusion, choosing to stop the car and addressing the moving parts directly, President Trump and Elon Musk are undertaking a bold experiment in government reform. Whether this approach will lead to a more efficient system or result in some unforeseen breakdowns remain to be unseen, people. We don't know what will happen yet. As with any complex machinery, careful consideration and expert handling are crucial to ensure that that vehicle of government continues to serve its passengers, the American people, effectively. I want to know what you think about this. Make sure you like and subscribe. This is again Murph, Big Brother Almighty, with the Never Too Much podcast and Blacklight TV. We have plenty of different genres and videos for you to check out, from police chases to tyranny videos of CJ Grisham. We have different interesting fun facts, and we do my favorite, the Never Too Much podcast. If you're ever interested, make sure you check us out. But if not, I hope you found this video informative, if not a conversation starter. You have a great one. Till next time, guys. Peace.
Turn it on. Turn it on. Listen up. Welcome to the show. It's Blacklight TV. Current vibes, all the news that you need. In this world changing, keep your soul light. Stay with us, we'll get you through the night. Turn it on.